What's going on, guys? We got another interesting one today. Donald Trump is not very happy with Mark Carney, to say the least. So, Brian Lilley posted this on X. Said, industry told the Liberals to scrap the digital service tax. Premiers asked them to drop it, like even Doug Ford. The Biden admin started a pending trade dispute with us. The Liberals kept this tax. Now, Trump has canceled all trade talks with us. We are killing other industries over this dumb tax. It must go. So here's what Trump has to say. It looks like he was pretty fired up too. Now, before we get into this, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, it really does help grow the channel. I appreciate you guys so much for doing that for me. So Donald Trump says, we have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, has just announced that they are putting a digital service tax on our American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They are obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, so much for Carney being the Trump whisperer, huh? You guys see that? I posted a video the other day where Carney was having this interview at the NATO summit, and one of the ladies interviewing was like, oh, you're like the Trump whisperer. Well, that didn't age well. So, got Jasmine Lane also talking about this here. So she posted this video. Let's have a look. She says, so much for Carney being, well, all right, fair enough. So much for Carney being the Trump whisperer and bragging about how good he is at dealing with Trump.
So Donald Trump has just announced that he is ending all trade talks with Canada due to our taxes and tariffs against the United States. So much for elbows up. If only we had gotten the party that wanted to actually work through negotiations and cut taxes and make life more affordable by unleashing our resources rather than relying on taxing their citizens and other nations, all sorts of things. You know, Canada never had problems trading with the USA until Justin Trudeau came around. And then, of course, they reelected his financial advisor, Mark Carney, who is also of the ideology of taxing your citizens more to be able to afford the social services you want to provide them in order to get their vote, rather than to just unleash your resources and not have to rely on taxing your citizens plus other nations. But yep, he says Canada, a very difficult country to trade with. Awesome. And this is actually all because of the digital services tax on their American technology companies. And more importantly than that, Donald Trump has said that they're going to tell Canada what the tariffs are going to be instead of negotiating. So,
yeah, remember that? When everyone said that Carney would be the best guy to deal with Trump? Remember that? How's that going? 3 months? Nothing's done. Almost 4 months now. Nothing's been done. Same old promises, no budget, now this. Do you feel proud yet? Are your elbows still up, or your arms getting tired? Maybe if we had like another actual conservative government to come in there who doesn't like taxes and overtaxing people and likes to make deals, maybe we'd have had something done by now. But even if Pierre Poilievre made a deal quickly with Trump, even if he actually did it, guess what the media and all the liberals would say? Oh, he caved. Yeah, well, now you're going to have tariffs for even longer, destroying our economy, which even Justin Trudeau was smart enough to admit. And Brian Lilley posted this. The Carney Liberals' insistence on going ahead with the digital service tax is hitting the Canadian dollar now. It will also continue to mean more pain for auto, steel, aluminum, and manufacturing jobs and more. So it's down 0.6% in just one day. As soon as this was announced, it was like, oh, it's going down. Of course, you can recover it, but it's a bad trend. Of course, you don't want this trend to continue. Then one more thing here I have from Jasmine Lane: Trump crisis / threat, fabricated and exaggerated. So now Carney is bracing Canada for another threat in order to keep the fear in God Savior complex alive and, well, until the next election, which is exactly what they want, because that's what they know. That's what they need to do to win the election, is fearmonger people, and they know it. So let's have a look at this, and then we'll talk about this as well.
Second thing I'd say is that the way we're looking at this, and you'll hear more about this in the coming months, that the investments we're making in defense and security, broader security, given the new threats that Canada faces, I think those, we're not at a trade-off. We're not at sacrifices in order to do those. These will be net additive. In other words, more of this will happen in Canada. More of it will help build our economy at the same time as it improves our defense, and we'll get the benefits. The question is, as we move towards later in this decade, and depending on how the threat environment evolves globally, if we are moving to the higher and higher levels of defense spending because that's necessary, then we will have to make considerations about what less the federal government can do in certain cases and how we're going to pay for it. Those trade-offs, I'm going to give you false precision around this, but those trade-offs happen towards the end of the decade into the next decade, and we will be much, much better informed. And if I can go back to Steve Chase's question, the social license element of that, there's going to be a very clear and open conversation about that, based on facts, and based on what Canadians want.
Okay, but for real though, what? So in 10 years, and not so much right now, but definitely within the next 10 years, man, what a future teller predictor this guy is. Holy crap, his entire book Values is about that, and every single prediction he's ever made has not come true. So I don't know how much I trust this, but either way, in 10 years, Canadians need to make sacrifices to meet military spending thresholds and confront new threats.
And exactly where are we going to need to make the sacrifices? Well, you're going to have to either pay more taxes, or with the tariffs, you're going to have to pay more on prices we need, and people are going to lose their jobs. And you're just going to have to deal with it, guys. You're going to have to deal with it, guys. Now, the liberal boomers who voted for this don't really care, right? They don't work. They're not trying to buy a house. They already have a house they bought for 100 grand 30, 40 years ago. That's worth $1 million or $2 million now. They don't care about immigration. They just fear-mongered over Trump, voted for Carney, and now they're getting screwed. Except they're not going to feel the pain. We are. And that's the sad part.
Which are what exactly? And sacrifices, which are no clue. So I'm just going to guess that what this means is in about 10 years, probably most likely, this new crisis is going to be fabricated and you're going to be taxed higher. There's probably going to be less public funding because by that point in time, Canada will be a fully formed welfare state with absolutely no income. There's going to be more surveillance for the threats and your safety, and another blank check, obviously, to the global elite. That's kind of what I take from all of this. Also, was anybody else even just ever so slightly confused by Mark Carney and his rhetoric? And wow, I'm about to go off here. But before I do, he ran this entire election campaign on how there isn't a problem at the border, there isn't a problem with Dr. Ruggs, and that the only problem we have, the only threat to our sovereignty is Donald Trump's tariffs. But then now he's saying, JK, there's actually a lot of problems. Canada's on fire. And to fix it, we need to throw money into the flames with all of these global organizations of which they do not keep publicly available data to track where that money's actually going.
A world that's more dangerous and divided. A time where the rules-based international, the global order, rules-based global order is under threat, in a time when...
Yep, and she's right. Everything Mark Carney ran on was a lie. He also said there wasn't an issue with fentanyl and then lied about that and then corrected himself after he won the election. Go figure. He said he was going to talk tough on Trump. Kisses his ass every time he sees him. I'm the one to get the deal done before the campaign when he said that the relationship is over, as we know it. Now here he is, 3-4 months as the prime minister, no deal done, and now the talks are off. So all those elbows up people, do you feel stupid yet? I know it's probably impossible because you have this zero level of awareness. But maybe one day you'll grow a brain and you'll actually feel how stupid you really are. You voted on this guy to get things done. And he's not getting anything done. He's making things worse. There's a bunch of people who predicted that, you know? And they're called conspiracy theorists by the mainstream media and you guys. Again, I'm making it very clear. Not all boomers, liberal boomers. Hell, I even know conservative boomers. Again, we're talking about Eastern Canada here, so it's like an extra level of stupid. But I know Eastern conservative, quote-unquote, boomers who agree with Carney over Trump. Even they got their elbows up. And again, good. You want a trade war with Trump? You're happy about these taxes? Good. Let's keep hitting him with taxes and not make a deal. Good. Then when you're walking down the street and homelessness is even worse, and drug abuse is even worse because that usually comes hand in hand with poverty, you have yourself to blame because you voted for a guy who does not want to do anything but destroy this country. He's only had 3 months. I know people need time, yada, yada, yada. He's done nothing. Well, except he's going to increase our military spending. But again, where's the money going to come from? We're broke. He's digging himself into a hole, and yet he still keeps polling really well. And it's not because of the average, it's because of liberal boomers. They don't care about immigration. They don't care about housing. They don't care about crime. They just care about Donald Trump, and they think this old, rich, white man, this globalist banker, is going to be the one to do it. And so far, he's done nothing. Except help end the trade deals, which is the opposite of what he said he was going to do after he won the election. He just said it the other day. Oh, yeah, we talk all the time. We're negotiating. And then he goes and puts this tax on, which he knew would piss Donald Trump off. That's why he did it. He ain't here to help, folks. But let me know what you guys think. Please don't be shy. And again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. And I'll be back shortly with a new one.